Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join me for Championship Preview Round 21. Yes, I'm aware it is Christmas Eve. I'm aware it's Christmas Day tomorrow, but we normally go 2 days ahead of time, and there's not going to be any time the other side of Christmas Day. So here we go with our latest Championship round of predictions, round 21 for the games on Boxing Day. I would say we've got a full round of games. I mean, we have, the intention was, but obviously a couple have been cancelled due to squads having numbers of players isolating. Please let me know that you can hear me and see me loudly and clearly. We're going to go through all of the fixtures. So I think we're down to 10 now that are coming up on Boxing Day, and we are going to make some predictions for each of them. Before we go any further, we do need to just quickly say thank you to our fan sponsor for this show, the Donovan Brothers, in love and memory of Michael Donovan of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan and admirer of this show. Thank you to the Donovan Brothers. Also, thank you to David, the Watford fan. We're in the process of getting his sponsorship and everything all sorted, but he will be joining the Donovan Brothers as a sponsor of this show. Thank you to the Donovan Brothers. Thank you to David. As ever, you can support the channel right now via Super Chat. You can join up on Patreon like the Donovans and David, who I've mentioned has. You can go over to the Teespring shop, buy some merchandise. You probably get it in about February now, knowing what the post is like. But easiest thing you can do is subscribe and get involved in the comments as we go through. Let's say hello to Jamie and a Merry Christmas and visual excellence. Hopefully this is visual excellence. Everyone moans when it's not. So Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas to Chris. Alistair says, I've got some devastating news in the morning. Moore is out for at least 6 weeks. I assume if that's Alistair, that will be Liam Moore. Terrible news. Get well soon, Liam Moore. Happy Christmas to Mr. E. And Jay says, what a week. Birthday last Friday. Happy birthday. Niece born on Tuesday. Congratulations, Uncle Jay. And now Christmas. Might as well open another beer. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Hello to Jason. And hello to Jed, whose name I recognise. Another Patreon sign up. Thank you to Jed, who sounds like Ebenezer Scrooge after he's had the about face turn at the end. Merry Christmas, one and all. Right. Shall we get into the fixtures for this round of games? Help me out, you hardy lot, in the comments. So we have in the 3 o'clocks. Well, they're all 3 o'clocks, other than the big game between two of the parachute cartel, Watford and Norwich, which is going to be at 7:45. So it is Barnsley versus Huddersfield, Blackburn versus Sheffield Wednesday, Bournemouth and Millwall is cancelled. So, we'll look at the table. A chance up at the top of the table, maybe for someone to get into the top two. Bristol City versus Wickham. Cardiff versus Brentford. Coventry versus Stoke. Derby versus Preston. Derby, of course, now like Rotherham, a game behind. And there are Rotherham. Their second game now postponed is away at Borough, so no game for Borough, who are also in the top 6, aren't they? Forest versus Birmingham, QPR versus Swansea, Reading versus Luton. And as I already mentioned, the big one at the top of the table is on Sky at 7:45, Watford versus Norwich. And I suppose it stands to reason that that is where we had better start. Get your predictions in for Watford versus Norwich. You don't have to give me a score. Just give me a Watford, Norwich, home, away, or draw. That's all I will need. And it is obviously Xisco Munoz, first game in charge of Watford. Our fifth manager departed and very swiftly replaced. Ivic, it was nice knowing you, but goodbye. I said he wasn't happy in that press conference, didn't I? In comes Munoz for his first games. Will the wonderful myth of the new manager bounce be a thing? And that helped Watford to victory against Norwich, who, look at them, 5 wins on the trot, 5 points clear at the top of the table, and knowing that Bournemouth are not playing, there's a chance, if Swansea do not win, that Norwich could be 8 points clear. And they'll know that going into this game because they play after everybody else. So big chance there for Norwich to put a massive dent in. There's the recent form. Not bad, actually, for Watford, despite the whatever blow up that there's been. Go and watch the Troy Deeney interview on Talk Sport. They hung in there against Brentford, didn't they? I think Brentford possibly could have won that game if they'd stayed at 11. And then, strangely, a couple of weird old goals in that Huddersfield game against Watford, wasn't there? With Foster making a huge mistake and then Capoue with an oddly poor piece of technique, slashing it into his own net. Generally, though, take that Huddersfield defeat out, and it was 1 defeat in 9 with 4 wins and 4 draws into the bargain. So they're well positioned, but obviously all was not well with Ivic. Norwich just outstanding at the moment. Lots of 2-1s, but finally a 2-0 and 2 lovely goals, one by Buendia and one by Cantwell. Not a deflection in sight, not a late goal in sight. Norwich are powering on now and into top gear, really, aren't they? And starting to build what we thought was going to be the team before, a few disruptions. Maybe a Pookie and Buendia, Dowell and Cantwell, the first choice front four, which they may end the season with. We'll see how the fitness goes, but they're in fantastic form, Norwich. So really the question is, can they carry it on, or will Watford and their excellent squad be able to get an immediate performance from Xisco Munoz? Let's see what you guys are saying. Alistair says 2-2. Jay says Norwich will edge it. Carl says 2-0 Norwich. Aztec, don't understand why the Watford manager. I've done 2 videos on this, so long explanation on that. Go and check that out. But always not well. It's not just the league table we need to analyse. Krill's still out. Gibson, Quintia back in training. Yeah, all stabilising. Lovely for Norwich now. Mr. E says he believes in the new manager bounce and says home win. Footy Frenzy says, sup Ben, sup man. Watford turmoil and new manager, so anyone's guess. Norwich in imperious form away. Eli says Merry Christmas. Thank you, sir. I haven't done it for a while, and Norwich have got 5 wins on the trot, so I'll go for a draw. We'll assume that something like Norwich will obviously play well because they're in really good form. Just depends on Watford whether they do get any kind of reaction. Let's assume they do, and they get a draw. Richard says don't often win on Boxing Day. Would be happy with a draw. I think with Norwich now and the excellent form they've put in, they've earned the right now to just draw in the remaining games against Bournemouth and Watford, and that will likely keep them at arm's length. And then you just see whether a Brentford or a Swansea can go on a run and challenge them. Aztec says Watford win. And Arthur. Arthur, he does as he pleases. Wishes everyone a happy Christmas. And Footy Frenzy, a 2-1 Norwich win. So, we just wonder whether the mythical beast that is the new manager bounce is actually going to be a thing. Normally, when we're putting our hopes down to curses or bounces, then you know what's going to happen, don't you? Moving on, let me bring my table up again. So Bournemouth versus, who was it going to be that's been suspended? Excuse me. Bournemouth versus Millwall is obviously cancelled. We will just have a quick word on how that could affect Bournemouth and Millwall. Sorry, I have to click on it to bring both up in the table. There we go. So Bournemouth essentially could have Norwich go 8 clear of them. Have I added that up right? Yes, I have. Or they could be overtaken by Swansea and Brentford, give or take some goal difference there. So potentially it could be a bad day for Bournemouth if Norwich, Swansea and Brentford all win. Then Bournemouth would drop to 4th with a game in hand. Although, if you're a Bournemouth fan, I suspect you wouldn't be too bothered with Norwich winning and that meaning Watford losing, obviously, because that may be the battle now. Not Bournemouth, unless Bournemouth can make a good chase at Norwich. It may be keeping Watford and then a Brentford or a Swansea at arm's length. So for Millwall, can they have anyone go past them? Let's have a look at the goal differences down there. Possibly not. It would take a big win for a Birmingham or a Coventry to go past them. So Millwall's 4 points in the last two stands them in reasonable stead. But just to mention that Bournemouth versus Millwall is obviously postponed, which means we can go on to Swansea, who are going to brave their way into Tier 4 and the west of London. Stay on the bus, guys, if you believe Mr. Hancock in his press conference. And of all places where the South African strand might be, I wonder if South Africa Road could be one of them. I jest. Just a bit of fun, guys. Quickly, I will read that one from Chris there. Parrott going back to Spurs. Yeah, that just hasn't worked at all. And I'm sure there was a nice wage being paid there and a loan fee. Normally the big clubs get them, don't they? So I predict Millwall not to lose another game this year. Well done, Alex. Someone's got to get in there. Christopher Cross, yes. A one-album wonder, I think. Won all the awards for that album. But hey, when you make an album that big selling, you don't need to make another one, do you? Anyway, where is this game? It is in QPR, isn't it? Yeah. QPR versus Swansea. Should we call it the Tom Carroll Derby? It's a very nerdy championship reference there. Get me your predictions in for QPR versus Swansea. Swansea in really nice form, and Steve Cooper doing a really excellent job, isn't he? Third in that division. They are currently breaking the parachute cartel, and other teams, it's sort of a Stoke that I know have had a lot of injuries that we'd expect to be up there. They're 3 points ahead of them. It is tight though, isn't it? Look, Swansea in third, Reading in eighth, only 3 points behind them. Hasn't opened up just yet. Give that another 10 or so games. But we're not even halfway at Christmas this year because of the COVID. We're a couple of games behind where we would be. And for those asking me to do halfway predictions, me being the pedant I am, I'll do them after January the 2nd when we actually have played 23 games. I know a few of my contemporaries have done them and I have been asked, but there's going to be a 2-week break. So I'll do them for FA Cup after January the 2nd. Anyway, Swansea in third, 10 points in the last 5. QPR, all is not well at QPR, and our QPR friends, no doubt will have some in the chat, have not been very happy recently. And there is why. There's that isolated victory there against Rotherham, who are terrible on the road, aren't they? Rotherham, traditionally in the Championship. And then defeats at Blackburn, at Brentford, at home to Bristol City, at Huddersfield, and late one at home to Reading. They did get, it was quite tedious. We did it on the watch-along, didn't we? A draw against Stoke, but couldn't get over the line against Wycombe, who equalised late on. The classic unhelpful draw. And then look at the next two fixtures for QPR, Swansea in third and Norwich in first. And they've got to go away to Norwich as well. So they really could do with something from this game. Lots of wins in those last 10 for Swansea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them with 2 draws and 3 defeats. But particularly the last 5 games has been excellent, hasn't it? With your 10 points up, your 2 points per game there. Let me just bring up the away form. Is spotty for Swansea. Remember, they were caught out well and truly by Derby's excellent first half in that game we did as a watch-along there. So they've lost at Derby, lost at Borough, and lost at Norwich. They've beaten Forest and they've beaten Cardiff, where they were very good. We also did that one as a watch-along. I will get to your comments, but I'm going to go ahead, and I am going. Sorry, Rangers fans, I'm going for an away win in this one. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. What do we got? If Norwich managed to win on Boxing Day, surely that's job done. You start to do the maths, chappers, don't you? And you think, well, how bad do they need to be now to mess this up? And what's the likelihood of that happening? So you're starting to look that way if that win streak continues. Remember, when we look at championship win streaks, and I have done the research on this, 6 is very, very good. And when you get into 7s and 8s, pretty much all the teams that do that at any point in the season at least finish in the top 4 or so. When you get above 8, I think Villa are the only ones to have done 10, possibly, if I'm memorising that correctly. But, super chat there from Bits, the legend. Happy Christmas to you and your family. Thank you so much. Happy Christmas all. Bits Bet will be back in the new year. Okay, so we will see him very soon. Thank you, Bits, for the super chat. Great supporter of the channel and Patreon as well. Jay says a dull draw. The Tom Carroll derby, 1-1. 3-0 Swans. Swansea away. I'm probably a lot of type of nerds, but I've never been called a championship. Well, look, I'm a proud championship nerd, so there we go. QPR Forever is here. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas to you, sir, too. And thank you again for the food. We just literally went to Morrison's this morning and literally had an entire trolley of carbs. It's lovely, and I look forward to eating it. There you go, Aztec. Something strange must happen. I normally go for a strange one. I'll do it later in the show. 2-1 Rangers, 3-1 Swans. Coupon buster there. I was going to say that Swansea haven't impressed me with that style this season. Then I looked at the table. There you go. I'll say QPR with the old manager downward pounce. 2-0 Swans. 2-0 Swans. Merry Christmas, Matthew. Another Patreon there. Great stuff. We all know on their day QPR can pull off an upset, but I see quite a cagey affair. Swansea, good defensive side, aren't they? 0-0. What's a win streak? Driving an Ipswich fan, mate. 15 years. Please stay on the bus and forfeit the game. Give us the points. There we go. 1-0 Swans. Right. Let's move on. Next and fourth in the table, we need to talk about Brentford, who we did on a watch-along, who played team, what did I call it, 1.5, and got a win over another Premier League team there. And they are at Cardiff. Get your predictions in. Cardiff versus Brentford. So a bit of a trek. Look at that. Swansea coming into West London. Brentford going out of West London and into Wales over there. Get your predictions in. Cardiff versus Brentford. I'm trying to think of a player who's played for both. Someone will get me in the comments with that one, I'm sure. Brentford, in great form, and they managed to rest Tony and Buemo. Norgard came back in, didn't he, off the bench? Nice to see him. Who else got rested? I think Jensen got rested. Pinnock wasn't there. I don't know whether he was rested. Dalsgaard, Henry, and Raya, and they still got through to the Carabao Cup semi-final, didn't they? Up in fourth on a great run. Cardiff were on a great run, a great win streak. They've gone a bit spotty since then. Win-loss, but still 9 points in the last 5 is serviceable. Certainly top 4 or 5 form, that 9 points in 5. There, let me just, this tournament, that. There is the recent form for both. So, you can see, I mean, if you drag it back, I mean, look, take a 4-game winning streak. Did I say 5? 4. Take a 4-game winning streak any point in the season, make your form look good. But, essentially 5 wins in 7 is 15 points in 7. So Cardiff, we have to say, are in good form. And look, they've lost to Swansea, who are 3rd, and Norwich, who are 1st. Does that tell us they're now going to lose to Brentford, who are 4th, that they're struggling against the really, really good teams? Brentford, unbeaten, imperious in terms of being difficult to beat. However, it is 5 wins and 5 draws. They just switch that to 6 and 4 and they'd be really happy. I'm sure they're very happy with their rise. And just depends whether Norwich go off into the distance, doesn't it? As to whether they can make it a title race with Swansea and Bournemouth and Norwich at the moment. They're the candidates. Or whether Norwich are going to not lose for a long while and it's only going to be a race for 2nd place. We've got that to find out, haven't we? Let's see what Mr. Buendia does in the January transfer window anyway. That might be the only thing that could necessitate any kind of title race here. So I'm going to back the Bees, actually. I'm going to go for a strange one. Before I do that, let me just put up Cardiff's home form because I bet it's really good. 3 wins in the last 4, just that Swansea defeat. Look, I said it. I'll go for an away win for the Bees in this one, so we do get some sense of a title race. And with Bournemouth not playing, that would be a bad day, wouldn't it? Because I've gone for Swansea and Brentford. I mean, it would take some goals to potentially get past them. Let's see what you guys are saying. What have we got here? 1-1 says Matthew. Brentford win and Tony to score another penalty. He loves a pen, doesn't he? So many penalties this season, isn't it? And not even with VAR in the Championship either. 2-1 says Arthur to the Bees. 1-1. Brentford 3-1. Brentford hangover 3-0 Cardiff. You don't want to go to Cardiff with a hangover and face Wilson and Morrison. If De Silva keeps up that form, I think Brentford can have a strong win here. Looking confident after Newcastle. Yeah, good game for De Silva. I think Jamie Redknapp might have been seeing him for the first time, but very glowing in his praise. Brentford to win the cup. Got to back our Championship sides. Wouldn't that be great, hey? Cardiff 1, Brentford 3. If Brentford have any chance of autos, they need to win here. So I've gone for the away win, and we will move on. Let's move on now. We've done Watford in 5th, and Borough we need to mention, but they are postponed, aren't they? It should have been Borough playing Rotherham. So Borough could well, it's very likely, in fact, given how there's 3 teams on 33 points. So we expect Borough will likely be out of the top 6 after this round, and they'll pick up the game in hand. I don't know what Warnock would prefer, the rest or to lose the momentum. He'd love the momentum. But look, it is a game against Rotherham, who are going to be battling it out down at the bottom of the table. So it's not like the example, for example, of Aston Villa, where they're waiting for a game away at Manchester City in the Premier League for a game in hand. So, Rotherham, and it could be bad for them, actually. Any points for Derby in Derby's game, and Rotherham will be in the bottom 3. They've done well to keep themselves out of it thus far, but it could work against them this weekend. So no predictions required for that one, but we will move on and we will talk about Stoke City, who we did on the watch along last night. Looks like Stoke are starting to get back some injured players, although they had to go with Andy Lonergan in goal last night. Get your predictions in, please. Coventry City versus Stoke. Coventry versus Stoke. I'm fairly familiar with Stoke now, having watched them in the flesh at the weekend and doing a good couple of watch-alongs actually in recent weeks of Stoke. I think we've got another one coming, have we? I know they're on Sky very soon. Get your predictions in for this one. Hopefully, oh God, it's not doing that thing. Let me know if anyone's watching on Facebook or Twitter. This happened last night in the stream where I'm just going to open it up on my phone, where your comments just stopped coming through, which was incredibly annoying. Is anyone messaging me to tell me about this? I may not be able to see your comments, so I'm going to do something very brave now, and I'm going to press refresh, and hopefully we should be back in, and hopefully I'll be able to see your comments again. We've had problems with StreamYard the past couple of days. My apologies for any technical difficulties. If anyone could try and give me a comment, but this is very frustrating, the issues with StreamYard at the moment. It does not seem to be working. So I'm going to open it up on my phone. Yes, and you are still commenting and I can see them. So I'm going to have to read the comments off my phone. I apologize. I can see them, but they're not going to be coming up on the screen, which is going to be very, very confusing for everybody, but we will try our best. Sorry. So do get your predictions in for Coventry versus Stoke. I can see them on my phone. I can't see them on my computer. Bringing up the recent results. Let me just, this tournament, that Stoke, very, very tight. Look at that. 3 clean sheets on the bounce for them. in the league, that is, but only 1 win in 4. Coventry have had a really, really good run. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games undefeated for Coventry before that defeat at Sheffield Wednesday. And I wonder whether we might get a similar thing here. Let's say I'm going to go for a draw in this one just because it's Stoke and they're struggling with injuries. Right. How do I get the comments up in here? Live chat. Okay. Right. Apologies. So I can read your comments on my phone, but I can't put them on the screen. Apologies. I missed a few on the Brentford and Cardiff game. Here we go. Right. Callum, unbeaten streak ends to bottom of the league. Typical Stoke struggle. He's gone 1-0 Coventry. Matthew says 1-0 Stoke. Bit says under 1.5 goals. There we go. Stoke to win a thriller. Stoke. 3-1 Stoke. Carl. And here 1-0 Stoke. 1-0 Stoke. 0-0 Stoke. Red card. Stoke have played 6 different keepers in 11 months. Crazy. Every time a game at St Andrews or Birmingham is mentioned, it crashes. I don't know what the deal is with StreamYard at the moment. Incredibly frustrating. I'll just put that up there that I cannot see your comments. Hopefully there'll be some kind of fix. Maybe I can run an update or something. 1-0 Cov says Aztec. 0-0. I think they should switch the whole planet off and turn it on again. Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? Chris says Cov conceded 1 in the last 5 at home. Stoke conceded none in the last 5 away. 0-0. Move on. 4-1 Stoke, says somebody who whose name hasn't. Oh, H. Beg your pardon. There we go. Right. Keep your comments coming. My apologies. I can't put them up on the screen. This looks like a StreamYard problem rather than a YouTube problem because I can see them. I've got my phone there next to me, so I'll read them off my phone each game we do. Feels a bit antiquated, doesn't it? But hey, we are broadcasting live on the internet. Where are we going next? We've got to talk about Reading. And we've already heard, I think it was Alistair, saying that Liam Moore is going to be out for 6 weeks. That's not good news, especially on top of the fact that Zhao, Maitai and Richards are already out. So get your predictions in those comments. It is Reading at home versus Luton. And I wonder whether the injuries will do for Luton, are one of those teams where if you are not quite there, if you are there, you might have a chance. But if you're not quite there, they will punish you. However, well, let's look at the form. Dropped down into the bottom half recently, Luton. And in fact, if you look at it over the long haul there, Luton, that win against Norwich, although Norwich fans would and did argue that they were very beleaguered by injury there. Big one against Preston, who are normally really good away from home, aren't they? However, other than that, 5 draws, in fact, and 3 defeats in the last 10. So Reading just dropping off with those injuries. And I just wonder whether that will be the issue there. Let's go to your comments, which annoyingly I'm going to look at on my phone. What have we got here? Matthew says 2-1 Luton. Jake says feel for Reading. These injuries are really derailing the season. Bobby says come on Wickham. We'll do them in a minute. The fall of Reading. 2-1 Luton. 2-0 Luton, says Anir. Zhao could make the bench apparently. Who's better, Elise or Harvey Elliott? You deal with that in the comments. Both very, very good. Reading 3-0. Jones masterclass, maybe 3-1 Luton. 2-1 Reading. So a Luton win then. My pick 13 needs a surprise away win. Reading 1, Luton 2, says John Peel. No longer with us, but great DJ based in my home county of Suffolk. I haven't given a prediction. Go on. Away win. Reading to be derailed by the injuries. We'll go for a weird one there. Luton to win at Reading. Why the hell not, I hear you say. And the answer can't be because I'm a Reading fan and you've upset me. There's nothing against Reading fans, by the way. Bristol City we are doing next. Bristol City versus Wycombe. I think there's going to be fans in this one, isn't there? Which is very odd. Get your predictions in. Bristol City versus Wycombe. Once again, I apologise. We're having issues with StreamYard. I cannot put them on the screen, but I can read them off my mobile phone, which is blooming irritating. But predictions in Bristol City versus Wycombe. And Wycombe have descended now to the bottom of the division with Sheffield Wednesday getting their first win in forever. And that doesn't say a lot for Wycombe, does it? Wednesday have been so bad, but all it took was one win. And that puts Wycombe with only 2 wins in 20 games. Were they not back-to-back wins? They were certainly close together, weren't they, for Wycombe? Bristol City, 3 straight defeats. A battle of 2 teams that really, really need a win. Let's bring up the recent form. So, yeah, Wycombe, look, no wins in 10. Defeats to Forest, Stoke, Barnsley, Coventry and Bournemouth. So a couple of good teams in there, or certainly top 6, top 8 teams in there. Lots of draws, 0-0, 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, 1-1. Not a lot of goals. Obviously, disappointed to put 2 in against Preston and not get anything there, given they found it so hard to score this season. Bristol City are another team a little bit wrecked by injuries. I don't know the status of Patterson and Mawson and Sessegnon. It feels like they missed Patterson the last game we watched them, which was last Friday night against Preston, wasn't it? With that interesting penalty decision given by referee Eltringham. Get your predictions in for this one. Sorry, Wycombe, it's a straightforward one for me. I'm going to have to go for a home win in this one. Let's see what you guys are saying. What have we got here? Bristol City 2-0, says Anir. Oh, they've moved to Tier 3 again. Oh, does that mean no one's allowed in? Was it just Tier 2 could come in and Tier 3 couldn't? Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Oh, dear. Never mind. Hey, lose track of all this. 4-2 Bristol City, says Carl. 2-1 Wycombe, says Bobby. Mr. E says 2-0 Bristol City. Merseyside are the only ones in the Premier League that can have fans now. Crikey. Bristol City 1-1, says Neil. 1-1, says Footy Frenzy. Blue Wolf says 2-1 Bristol City. Aztec says 2-1 Bristol City. Chris is gone for a draw there. Bristol City lost 5 of the last 7, and their home games tend to be low scoring. 1-1 says Lock, yes. Bristol City 1, Wycombe 2, says H. Bristol are back in Tier 3. They've hardly been out of it. Not good. Not good. We'll get there one day, guys. We might even get the comments working here on StreamYard as well. My apologies that we can't see your comments on the screen. I will continue to read them off their phone. Chris says no injured players back for Bristol City, and Patterson seeing a specialist. Oh, dear. Well, I've made my prediction now. I've got to stick with it. We've already done Cardiff, haven't we? They're playing Brentford. We have not done Blackburn, who I saw get shut out by Stoke. And look who they've got coming up against them in this one. Mr. Tony Pulis and Sheffield Wednesday, who will endeavour to do exactly the same. Blackburn versus Sheffield Wednesday. And I dare say the couple of games we've watched, on the channel at Bristol City and in the flesh there at Stoke, Blackburn haven't coped well with the low block and the defensive strategy. And they've lost both of the games 1-0, despite we can praise Adam Armstrong and Harvey Elliott all we like. And I actually liked Nyambe, the right back as well, really aggressive attacking fullback. But I wonder whether Mr. Pulis can force a draw or better in this one. It does seem that the low block does appear to work against Blackburn and Elliott and Armstrong. Of course, Elliott loves a dribble. Armstrong loves a run in behind. That being said, Sheffield Wednesday's form has been atrocious, and it was 3 straight draws followed by 4 straight defeats. Does that mean we get 5 straight wins now? I suspect it doesn't, but I'm just looking at the patterns, honestly. Yeah, so Blackburn had been on a really nice run. Look at that. 4 wins in 6 up until Bristol City in the low block. Norwich, who would obviously have attacked them. And then a win against Rotherham, which probably was a low block as well. And then the defeat against Stoke. I think Mr. Pulis can grind out something here against Blackburn. So I'll go for a draw. Once again, I'll apologise. I cannot bring your comments up. StreamYard is not showing me them, which is very annoying. So I'll read them off my phone. Logan says, Merry Christmas. Thank you. 1-1 says Blue Wolf. Footy Frenzy says 5-3 with Pulis. 0-0 says Oliver. Rovers won 4 of the last 5 at home. Banker home win says Chris. 2-1 Wednesday says Neil. Carl says 1-0 Owls, 2 Reds for Blackburn. 2-2 draw says Aztec. I have also gone for the draw in that one. Right, where are we going next? I'm going to make sure I don't miss anyone out. This is where I miss people out in the middle of the table. Huddersfield, we haven't done them yet. 10 points in the last 5 for Huddersfield. And it's Barnsley versus Huddersfield. Anyone give me a player? Dean Gore. Does anyone remember him? Dutch central midfield. I'm sure he played for both, didn't he? Back in the late 90s. Someone will give me a better one than that. Who's that guy? Bullock. Did he play for both? Can't remember. They're very tight in the table, this one. And they're very tight on form, actually, as well. Look, 9 points in 5 for Barnsley, 10 points in 5 for Huddersfield. And I dare say this should be a really good game, shouldn't it, with Ishmael against Corberon. So maybe you gamblers over 2.5 in this one. I'd have a little look at that. Let's have a look at the recent form, and in particular, let's have a look. 3 straight wins up until a defeat against Swansea. And if you look at the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games for Barnsley, we only lost to Bournemouth and Swansea, who are literally 2nd and 3rd in the table. The home form, and again, it's Brentford. So they're losing to the top teams, Barnsley, but doing well against everyone else. Look, victory against Derby and Forest and Birmingham and Wickham and Wednesday and Preston. They know how to win games. So can they do it again against Huddersfield, who are in really good form, actually? When you look at it, okay, a horrible 5-0 there against Bournemouth. But in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in 7 games, 4 wins and a draw. So, yeah, 13 points in 7. That will keep you in the top half for sure if they keep that one up. Let's go for a high-scoring home victory in this one, like 3-2 or something to Barnsley in this one. What are you guys saying here? Oliver, who is a Huddersfield fan and a Patreon. Thank you, Oliver. We never seem to win on Boxing Day. Going to be an exciting open game. 3-3 draw. That'd be great, won't it? Blue Wolf says 2-1 Barnsley. Chris has gone home win there. Says Huddersfield 2 from the last 5 away. 2 points, that is. Lockyer says 3-1 or 3-1, as in home or away. Craney says Animation Station played for both. Is that Martin Craney, who's at Luton now? 2-1 Barnsley, 2-1 Barnsley, Anir and Aztec, and Neil all agree on that. And John, Footy Frenzy says 2-1 away. And Blue Wolf, I think I've already read his one out, says 2-1. And I think, yes, there we go. We've got everyone's thoughts in on that one. And I've gone for a home win as well to the Tykes. We've done Luton. They're going to Reading. We have not done Preston, who play Derby, and I think we can safely call them informed Derby after the last 5 games for the Rams. Derby were obviously due to be playing Rotherham this past game week, but that one went the way of COVID. A home game for Derby. Get your predictions in. Derby versus Preston. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Only one to go after this one, guys. Bit of a quicker show today. One, because I can't put the comments up, and two, because two of the games have been postponed, obviously. So Derby versus Preston. We've done two of these games very, very recently. In fact, the last two games for each, we did Preston kind of scraping through against Bristol City, but maybe edging that game very, very slightly. And we did Derby, who were excellent against Swansea. Put it this way, if Derby play the way they played in the first half against Swansea, we don't need to talk anymore because they will likely win. Let's have a look at the recent form. And Derby have got really miserly defensively recently as well. They've kept 4 clean sheets on the trot. And even prior to that, they only conceded one in the previous two games, both late goals against Coventry and Wycombe. They'd be way up the table if they'd held on in both of those games. Ifs, buts, maybes. Yes, I understand. Get your comments in. I can't see them on the screen. I apologise. I'll look at them on my phone. So Derby in good form. Some wins in there for Preston. Typical Preston. Look at that. Win away at Bournemouth, draw at home to Wycombe. Thrash Middlesbrough 3-0, get thrashed by Preston. Then lose to Barnsley, beat Bristol City. So who knows with Preston? So let's not predict the result based on Preston. Let's say Derby are in really good form at the moment and trending in the right direction under Rooney, Rossini and McLaren. And I'm going to go for a home win based on that really excellent, first half that they got against Swansea. What are you guys saying here? 1-1 says Annie. Logan asks what meat I'm having. We're having lamb and then chicken. Just the two of us and the dogs. I'm sure that they won't be able to have the sauce on the meat, will they? Poor doggies. They've got plenty of meat of their own. 1-1 says Annie. 2-2 says Footy Frenzy. Neil says I am a Ram, so I've got to say 3-1 Preston. No, Neil, you have to leave your bias at the door, my friend. But hey, it may well be 3-1. Anyway, Preston always seem to lose to Derby, says Animation. Derby have turned a corner. Preston have lost 4 or 5 away, says Chris. Home win. Carl says 2-0 Preston. Bits says Derby. Lock, yes, 2-0 Derby. Mr. E says 2-0 Derby as well. So they are a little bit in agreement with me on that. I think we've done everyone. Now, I don't recall talking about Forest. So I'm guessing... Oh, have we done Birmingham? Birmingham? There we go. That's why we haven't done Birmingham. Because they're playing Forest. You do the math, Ben. Deary me. A senior moment there from me. Forest versus Birmingham. Get your predictions in for that one. Sorry, I was just thinking of Sweet Home Alabama, where they call it Birmingham. In Birmingham, they have the governor or something. Woo, ooh, ooh. Anyway, enough of my singing. I'm going delirious now. It's because I can't read the comments. Forest versus Birmingham. It is in Nottingham. Ladies and gentlemen, Karanka versus Houghton. Hang on a minute. Karanka used to manage Forest and Houghton used to manage Birmingham. Only in the Championship, ladies and gentlemen, could you get two managers going against their former teams. I suppose throw a Gary Rowett into that and he's managed everyone, and a Neil Warnock and you're fairly safe. But you know what I'm saying. I was pleased to figure that out as we were going. Birmingham, 3 straight defeats. Forest, 4 points in the last 2 games. What do we got happening? How's Forest's home form? Not terrible, losing to Brentford and Swansea and beating Wycombe and Sheffield Wednesday. There you go, guys. Forest have won key games against bottom 6 rivals in Nottingham. That might have just swayed my prediction for this one. Birmingham, 3 straight defeats. And sadly for Karanka, who'd had the defence so tight earlier in the season, a 4 and a 3 in the last 2 conceded. And then that home defeat against Watford. Doesn't look good for Birmingham, this, does it? And I think I'm going to hone in on that Forest being able to do the job at home against their rivals. And I'm going to go for... Slaps his pen down. And sorry, that noise probably goes down the microphone and irritates all of you. I'm going to go for a home win. I think you probably guessed. And annoyingly, still, I can't bring your comments up on the screen. What do we got here? Neil says he's not being biased. Well, Neil, you said I'm a ram, so I've got to go for 3-1. That's the definition of bias, my friend. So just take the first bit off and I will accept your prediction as not biased. Brummies win 3-2. Carl says 0-0. Neil says oops. Annie says 0-0 written all over it. Taylor and Lecco to score says H. 6 degrees of the championship. Absolutely. Forest 2-1 says Mr. E. Chris says a draw. Brum generally avoid defeat away. Oliver says we nearly went to Birmingham in Alabama. And Lock Yes says 1-1. John says 1-1. Neil says 2-1 Birmingham. Are you leaving your bias at the door again with that one, Neil? I'm throwing the accusations of bias around now here, aren't I? Terrible form from me. My apologies. Anyone can predict what they like. Of course they can. So I have gone for a home victory in that one. Right. I think that should just about do us. Thank you to everyone. Thank you. Who was it who did the super chat? It was Bits. My apologies again. Sorry, let me just read this one. It's a nice one from Vietnam. Warm welcome. Miss you. Thumbs up. Should be leave your pious at the door. Nice one. Will says, watch all your videos. Keeping up with your opinions on the mighty borough. Thank you. And thank you to Annie. Thank you to everyone. I promise I'll read the comments on the phone as the advert plays at the end. I do promise that. Now, we're going to be very, very busy the other side of Boxing Day. So there will be a super stream at 3 p.m. on Boxing Day, followed by a Watford Norwich watch along. Then the review will be at 10 a.m. the next day. Then the next preview will be on Tuesday the 29th. This is Championship. There will be Dearly Departed stuff in between this as well. That will be a 1 p.m. show. And then we're going to be doing Dearly Departed for that round. But there'll then be a 7:30 super stream on Tuesday the 29th. There's a load of games at 7:45. So we'll cover all of them. Then on the 30th, there's going to be a double bill. Brentford versus Bournemouth, followed by Swansea versus Reading. Then there'll be a review of game round 22 at 10 a.m. on New Year's Eve. Then it'll be the preview on New Year's Day at 1 p.m. And we'll be watching along Sheffield Wednesday versus Derby at 5:30. Then there'll be a super stream the following day on Saturday the 2nd. And the Championship review will be on Sunday the 3rd. And then I will sit in a dark room for a few days. Everybody keep up with that. I've got it all written down on the whiteboard up there. Chris, that is extremely kind. I can see a gigantic £25 super chat. Chris, brilliant. Thank you so much. Great subscriber. Chris, that's not the first time he's been very generous in the chat. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Mr. E says thank you. Anis wishes everyone a happy Christmas. And Paul says, great guy. Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much, especially Chris at the end there with that lovely chat. Chris gives up a lot of his time doing the predictions as well under these videos. He'll type them all up as well and actually keeps track of his, which I must do next season. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Apologies again. I'm going to send StreamYard an email very, very shortly. Hopefully they're aware of the issue. I'd rather it was an issue with everybody than just with me, because then I know they'll be working on it. Thank you very much. Look, try and enjoy Christmas. If you can see your family and you're in tier 2 until 1 minute past midnight, enjoy seeing your family. If not, get on Skype, get on Zoom. I'll be doing that with my parents and my sister tomorrow. And for goodness sake, Shaylee's parents live literally, I could walk there in 15 seconds. Can't see him. Ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. What are you going to do? But hey, we'll get through it. We'll get out the other end. And there, I promise we will definitely do a live event at some point. There'll be a live watch along or something where we can all gather somewhere and hang out together, or an end of season review or something. We'll get some guests and do that. But with all of that being said, try and have a great Christmas tomorrow. Eat, drink, and be merry. And I'll be back on Boxing Day, first up for the super stream at 3 p.m. or sort of 1:45 on Boxing Day. I'll read the rest of the comments off my phone. Thank you, everybody. And with all of that being said, did a proper sign off. It's over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.